How are we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be recapping UFC Macau, Jan vs. Figueiredo, that just took place a couple hours ago. The main event wrapped up just under, 2 hours ago. I took a little bit of a little breather. Not breather, but, just to gather my thoughts on the card, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I shat down my leg on this one. I went 5-8 on picks. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is probably my worst card of picks in my entire career of doing this. I've been doing this for about 3 years. Just a little. Yeah, about over 3 years. So, there's a first time for everything, but let's get right into this main event. Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Amazing fight. Very entertaining fight. Deiveson only landed 53 strikes the entire fight. That doesn't even seem remotely correct. Those have to be numbers that will be changed later. Very fun fight. Petr Yan, like I thought, he controlled the striking for the most part. Deiveson definitely had his moments, mostly just kind of bulldozing him a little bit, just rushing at him, ripping to the body. I like Deiveson's body shot selection in this fight. It was very, very good, and it arguably got him some moments in the fight was his body shot selection. And then he also had a great straight to the head on both sides, his right and left straight. Worked like a charm. I think he rocked Petr Yan at one point in the second round, I think it was, and then he dropped him in the fourth, but they didn't credit him with a knockdown. They didn't credit Petr with a knockdown in the third round either, with his uppercut. So weird numbers going on here. I don't really get it, but very entertaining fight. The first round, I'll be honest, I was a little worried when Deiveson immediately got that trip in the clinch. I was like, hold up, maybe Deiveson's ground game is actually a huge threat. But then he didn't really do any damage with it, and then Petr immediately reversed him, and then got top position himself and controlled it for a majority of the round. So, Petr wins round one. Round two, mostly Petr outstriking him. Deiveson has the one moment where he catches him with a straight left, and I'm like, oh, maybe Deiveson's rocking him now. Maybe he can get some shit going. But then Petr the whole fight was going for the Osatari grip throw, the shit that Zabit Magomed Sharipov does, where he puts his arm over the shoulder and then trips you from out back and slams you. This one that Petr got in the second round looked rough. If I'm being Deiveson hit the ground so hard and then just laughed it off. But it was a very, very solid game plan from Petr Yan throughout the fight. He implemented takedowns as well. He actually got more takedowns, I believe. No, he only got one takedown over Deiveson. But, yeah, Petr's striking looked very good in the second round. Round three, Deiveson was able to get him down at one point. I think it was right at the beginning, but then Petr got right back up. He grabbed a leg and kind of used that to sweep to get back to his feet to create a scramble. Besides that, Petr kind of won the striking a lot of the time. He was doing a lot of knee stomps in the middle rounds, from what I remember. He was stomping out Deiveson's lead leg with whatever, because he kept switching stances like Petr always does, and then he was landing the uppercut all night long. And I believe in the third round, I think it was the third round, is when he dropped him with an uppercut. And I was like, because I predicted fourth round KO for Petr, I was like, damn, he's starting to rock him already, because he was landing heavy in the second round, but the third round he landed pretty damn hard and knocked him down and definitively won round three. Round 1, 2, and 3 completely go to Petr Yan. Round 4, on numbers, it looks like a clear-cut Petr Yan round, because for the most part, he was just outpacing Deiveson. Deiveson's output in this fight, like I said, was going to be quite minimal compared to Petr Yan, because Petr builds into fights. I knew Deiveson was going to slow down as the fight went on. He didn't slow down as much as I thought he would, if I'm being honest. His cardio actually looked pretty solid, but you could tell that he didn't throw as much just because he knows that if he throws too much, then his cardio will kind of go out the window. But he kept a good pace with Petr Yan and didn't gas out fully. He just didn't really throw a lot. Round 4, like I said, for the most part, Petr was kind of tagging him up, piecing him up. Deiveson missed on 2 takedown attempts, and Petr was just landing uppercuts, stomping on the knee, throwing body kicks. But then in the end of the 4th round, he got dropped by Davison, and Davison started to have his own things. Petr did land some good shots. I'm honestly shocked that all three judges had it 50-45, because I thought round 4 should have been Davison because of the knockdown. It was a bad knockdown, and then he ripped him to the body and had his own... Like, the last 30 seconds, Davison had Petr hurt pretty bad. But then Petr, in, like, the last 5, was like... And then started throwing his own shit. But round 5... kind of much of the same. Round 5 and 4 were very competitive rounds. Davison actually started to work his way back into it. Again, mostly Petr hitting him with uppercuts in the dirty boxing range, and then Davison kind of landing straight flush punches, and he hurt Petr. He was ripping to the body. But yeah, clear Petr Yan win. At worst, I forget what I scored round 5. I think I scored it 49-46. Because I gave round 4. I don't remember if I gave round 5 to Davison. I thought it was clearly... Petr clearly won rounds 1 through 3, so he automatically wins the fight. Round 4 I gave to Davison. Round 5 it doesn't really matter. I think I did give the 5th round to Petr, so my scorecard was 49-46. But very interesting fight. And now this puts Davison in a weird spot. Because Davison at this point at bantamweight was looking like a really... good contender. He still did look good, to give him credit. He did have moments of success. I think for Davison Figueiredo, I think at this point his next fight should probably be against Corey Sandhagen. If Sean O'Malley is not fighting Corey Sandhagen next, which I have a firm belief that for some reason they're just going to give Sean O'Malley an immediate title shot in his next fight because for some fucking reason, I guess. Because there's not really anybody else for Davison to fight. He already beat Cheeto. He won't fight Henry Cejudo. Song Yadong doesn't deserve that fight. He's going to have to fight down. Rob Font, he beat Rob Font. He 30-27 Rob. There's not a lot of fights for Davison Figueiredo at this point in his career. I think that the Corey Sandhagen matchup is very interesting, and I think it makes a lot of sense. For Petr Yan, I think at this point, Petr Yan fights the loser of like a Merab Umar. He would fight the loser of that, or you do the Sean O'Malley rematch, depending on how those schedules work out. Because I think that Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, that fight looks a lot more appetizing than a Corey Sandhagen, Sean O'Malley fight. I think a lot of people would much rather see Petr Yan rematch him, even though we have never seen Corey Sandhagen, Sean O'Malley. I have a weird feeling that I know exactly how that fight would go down, and I don't really want to see it. Even though it has like the ability to be very entertaining, I would much rather see a Petr Yan rematch because we saw how competitive the first fight was, and make it 5 rounds. Give Petr Yan 5 rounds this time to see what he can do against Sean O'Malley for 5 rounds. Those are my 2 matchups. I'll give Davison, Corey Sandhagen, because Corey did just lose to Umar. After being on his little win streak, what was it, Rob Font, and then Song Yadong, and did he have somebody else in there? Or was it just those? Oh, yeah, he also had Cheeto. So those 3 guys versus Davison, his 3-fight win streak, and he just lost to Petr Yan. So they both had the Petr Yan fight. We move to the co-main event, Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ritchie. Tabitha Ritchie just wasn't good enough on the feet, and she couldn't get it to the ground whatsoever. That's it. Tabitha Ritchie's striking is not good. She landed 0 strikes in the first round. Wow. That doesn't even seem like possible. Really? I thought she landed something. No, guess she didn't. Tabitha Ritchie landed 17 punches. Or strikes, because those are probably some kicks. Yan Xiaonan looked like on one. She looked very good in this fight, and I would love to see her rematch Zhang Weili. Yan Xiaonan, just complete domination from pillar to post. Tabitha Ritchie was just out of range the entire time. She couldn't do the weird thing where she just is like, and then like juts into range, because Yan Xiaonan was just counterpunching her the entire fight. Tabitha Ritchie would try and advance. She would eat a jab. Yan Xiaonan was actually rocking Tabitha Ritchie throughout most of the fight. Rounds 2 and 3 especially, she was like hitting her pretty flush, which props to Tabitha that she was able to eat it. So good for her, but this is what I expected to see when Tabitha Ritchie goes higher in the rankings, a fight like this. When her wrestling doesn't work and she's going up against an actual competent striker with punching power, not an Angela Hill, not a fucking, who was the other girl that she just, was it fucking, Tisha Pennington, when she fights girls like that, she arguably lost to both of them anyways, but when she fights like a top-level girl, she just doesn't look good. I kind of expected this to be the outcome of this fight. I think a lot of people did. I'm surprised the odds were as close as they were. Yeah, but Yan Xiaonan looked on one tonight, and who are some matchups I could give these fucking two ladies? I mean, Yan Xiaonan, I think you could do Yan Xiaonan versus Verna Jandiroba, because I think Tatiana Suarez just does get a title shot next. I don't think we need to worry about Tatiana versus Verna Jandiroba for like a number one contender fight. I say we have Zhang Weili defend her title because she's been inactive as fuck. Just make her defend against Tatiana Suarez. Have Verna and Yan Xiaonan fight each other. That fight makes a lot of fucking sense. Make that fight because it makes a lot of sense. To get another number one contender, because I don't think Yan Xiaonan deserves an immediate rematch after defeating number 10 ranked Tabitha Ritchie. Like, I think that's a bit bullshit. Make her fight Verna Jandiroba, who herself is on a crazy win streak herself. Just finished Amanda Lemos. She's coming off beating Angela Hill, Marina Rodriguez, Lupita Godinez. That's a very solid win. I think that matchup just makes a lot of sense. So that's how you advance that women's strawweight division even more. Just make fights near the top of the division. Make Zhang Weili defend her title, for fuck's sake. Who cares about fucking Tabitha Ritchie, Verna Jandiroba? Right? Like, Tatiana Suarez probably just beats Verna Jandiroba. Who knows? Who knows? I don't care. Great performance from Yan Xiaonan, by the way. I will say that. She looked very good. We move to the featured fight. Song Kanan versus Muslim Salikov. Ooh, man. The first of many misses I'll talk about. Because I hit on the main and co-main. I did do that. Muslim looked pretty solid. He was looking pretty fast. Song was just a little bit out of range for the most part. He should have gotten the decision. I'm joking. Muslim spinning wheel kick knocked out Song Kanan in the first round. Probably one of the knockout of the year contenders, even though it is late. I don't even think this counts towards knockout of the year. I don't even think this would fit in the criteria. Right? I think this would go into next year's, right? Some bullshit like that. Anyways. But Song Kanan kind of just got caught. Not a lot you can do there. Muslim Salikov gets a brutal TKO, or knockout, actually. That's not a TKO. He didn't even need a follow-up because he fucking flush knocked him out. But a lot of crazy finishes on this card. This was probably one of the bigger highlights. There's another one. There's another head kick that we'll talk about later. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to take for Muslim Salikov to lose a fight at this point. I don't know what it's going to take to beat a 40-year-old man, in a fist fight. So, very cool guy, though. He had a very cool post-fight interview. But, yeah. Muslim Salikov just kind of knocked out Song Kanan. Is what it is. We move to Wang Kong versus Gabriela Fernandez. Fuck, man! She was beating her ass the entire time. Wang Kong lost. It just sucks. It does, because she was probably one of the more high-touted female prospects that we've had in a couple years. Wang Kong, first round, like, utter domination. She was looking very good. She was showboating. She was tagging Gabby. Gabriela Fernandez couldn't really do anything in the first round. She was just kind of getting her ass whooped a little bit. Not her ass whooped, but definitely outstruck. Definitely not winning the round. Not winning any exchanges. Her straight punches couldn't really land in the first round. Boy, did they land in the second. Second round comes around. The same thing's happening. It's just Gabby's on her back foot on the fence. Wang Kong's teeing her up from, like, kickboxing range. Gabriela Fernandez, when Wang Kong goes in for, like, I think she was trying to throw an elbow or, like, initiate a clinch for some reason, Gabriela threw up a head kick and landed flush on Wang Kong's head. They both hit the floor, because I think Wang Kong kind of, like, crashed into her and then fell down, and Gabby fell down as well. Wang Kong gets up, and for some reason, like, in her state of mind, she's like, oh, I'm rocked. I'm going to throw a 5-punch combination and leave my hands at the ground. She throws 5 punches, misses all 5 of them. Gabriela just slings a left straight and knocks down Wang Kong. Jumps on her, gets her back, and then ends up choking her out. Sucks to see Wang Kong lose. She'll be back, I promise. It just does suck to see her lose, because she was like she actually did bring entertainment, right? Like Gabriella looked good, not good. She was getting her ass whooped. She got lucky. I saw underrated UFC fights. Is it like the tribal chief or whatever? He tweeted. He said a lot of people were like fraud check, fraud check. He was like, was that a fraud check or was that just a unfortunate turn of events? I think this is just an unfortunate turn of events. I don't think it's a fluke per se, because Gabriella probably did set it up. Probably not, but you know, it's WMMA. Who fucking knows at this point? But she threw the head kick. It landed flush. It was a poor judgment decision from Wang Kong to do what she did. She should have backed up. She should have backed up a little bit and given herself time to recover instead of, you know, throwing 5 random punches for no reason and then getting clocked. It is her fault. It is a poor lack of judgment. It's not a fraud check, though, because I don't think a fraud checking is when someone just gets their fucking ass handed to them. That's a fraud check. Losing in the way that Wang Kong did is not necessarily a fraud check because she didn't, like, it wasn't like she got exposed or anything. She just kind of got caught. It happens. But I think that Wang Kong will be back. I hope she does come back in a full form because she is very entertaining. We move to Volkan Oezdemir versus Carlos Ulberg. Kind of went how I thought it would. Carlos kind of just tagging him up for the most part. Volkan trying to find his way in. Some people were trying to claim that this was a robbery. I saw that on Twitter where people were like, fuck it, what? How do you fucking... I don't even understand how you can even begin to form that type of judgment when on visible damage, Carlos is clearly winning, and on just, like, visible damage in, like, from punches, like, reactionary, like, reactions to the punches, you could tell that Volkan was getting hurt sometimes. You know? What's the big deal with that, huh? Carlos won. He was looking to check hook a lot in this fight, which I kind of expected him to do, but he kind of did it too much to where it was like, all right, throw something other than a check left hook, dude. Carlos looked good. Not good enough to where I would, like, pick him against, like, the upper echelon of, like, the division. But, he did look all right. He beat Volkan Oezdemir pretty clearly. I think you could do him versus a Rakic. I think that's the fight that makes sense. Rakic on a 2-fight, or actually he's on a 3-fight losing streak, actually. Holy shit, that's weird to think about with Rakic. Ulberg should probably get a top 5 fight after this. They probably will because he is Carlos Ulberg, and they're trying to push him a lot for some reason. It's either Rakic or, like, Jan Blachowicz is who they'll fight. Because I think, who confirmed that Jamal Hill and Yuri are fighting at 311 at the post-show? I saw that. Someone tweeted that. Someone said that somehow got, like, leaked by one of the people in the post-fight. I think they said Haley, but I think they meant Zhang Weili. I think Weili might have leaked that. But, yeah, Carlos Ulberg versus Rakic. He looked all right. Like, there were, like, flashes where you're like, oh my god, Carlos Ulberg's really fucking good. But then there were, like, lulls in the action where it was like he missed, like, 3 check hooks in a row, and you're like, you're not really doing much right now, man. Volkan just really couldn't land anything, like, powerful. He would have these moments where he would get on the inside. Like, in the beginning of the 3rd round, Volkan really pushed the pace, and he probably did win the 1st round just because of a lack of output from Carlos Ulberg, because he did land more, and Volkan does hit hard, so, like, there's something to factor in there, but, yeah, Carlos Ulberg won. We move to the start of the main card, Zhang Mingyang versus Ozzy Diaz. Yeah, Zhang knocks him out. Ooh, who would have fucking figured? Ozzy Diaz is just a fat middleweight. It is what it is. Zhang got the knockout. Cool. I think that's his 18th first-round finish. Wow, his whole career has ended in the 1st round. That is kind of scary to think about. Zhang, again, calls out for a title fight afterwards. He knocked him out with a step-in elbow. It was really cool. He was setting it up. He was just like... You could tell that Zhang Mingyang was a light heavyweight. Like, you could tell just by, like, frame differentials that Zhang Mingyang belonged in the weight class and Ozzy Diaz is just fat. So, like, Zhang Mingyang just, like, kind of, like, mogged him a little bit. So Zhang, he was touching him up, and then Ozzy Diaz kind of, like, went into boxing range, and Zhang Mingyang just threw a, like, close-up elbow and knocked him out. So, very cool performance from Zhang. I imagine they're going to give him someone near the rankings. I don't think they would do it. Maybe they give him Alonzo Menafield, actually. That would be kind of cool. That'd be a badass fight. Oh, that'd be really cool. Him versus Alonzo. I think him versus like Ion Kutelaba would be fireworks too. Test out the grappling a little bit because I know Ion would probably try and wrestle him a little bit. I think that's a fight you could do. We move to the featured prelim. Baragang Giliesu versus Su Yong Yu. Or Giliesa, my bad. Yeah, it's just... This was just a terrible pick on my part. Giliesa is just not good. He's just like not a good fighter. I don't know why I picked him, to be honest. I thought the height advantage, I thought the reach advantage would help him out. His striking looked alright on the road to UFC circuits. In this fight, it didn't really look all that good. He was so scared of the takedown after the first round that he just really didn't throw much. Su Young Yu looked alright. I don't think he's going to do much in the UFC. He looks pretty strong for bantamweight, though, and his striking did look well after the first takedown, probably because of how fearful Giliesa was of the takedown after the first round. He was landing flush on him. He looked alright. Good win for Su Young Yu. You're probably going to go 1-3 in the UFC. We move to Kiro Singh Sahota versus Dong Hun Choi, the road to UFC men's flyweight finale. Man. Again, another miss on my part. Kiro Singh Sahota doesn't use his range. He was like doing really awkward movements. Like I said he would. He was moving pretty awkwardly. He was like flailing his arms around a little bit. Dong Hun Choi kind of just got in boxing range, landed a humongous right overhand, and Kiro Singh Sahota like face plants. Yeah, this is what happens when you engage in like a firefight with a dude who has power and is shorter than you and wants that type of fight with you, man. I don't know. Not really much to talk about on this one either. Kind of just like a lack of poor judgment call from Kiro Singh Sahota leads to him getting brutally knocked out. Dong Hun Choi did look cool, though. I will look out for him at flyweight, especially. He packs a mean fucking punch, dude. He's 5'5", so not that small for the division. He looked pretty good. Got strong legs on him, too. Jesus. We move to the road to UFC women's strawweight finale. Xi Ming versus Feng Xiaonan. Now, this is the fight that's getting a lot of eyeballs right now because if you don't know, Feng Xiaonan got brutally KO'd with a head kick after she was dominating the fight. She was beating her up in the first round. Like, Xi Ming got outstruck in the first round, got outstruck in the second round. Like, Feng Xiaonan was looking beautiful in the first two rounds. Round 3 comes around. She's still looking good using her range. Xi Ming throws like a TJ Dillashaw ducking roundhouse. Like, she kind of came inside with like a fake uppercut and brought her leg up. And Feng Xiaonan got literally brutally knocked out. It is one of the more vicious KOs I've seen in recent memory. And what adds kind of a scare factor to it is Feng Xiaonan got stretchered out of the arena. They brought a stretcher into the octagon and actually carried her out, and they like had live hospital updates on the broadcast about her. So it was a bad one. But this one kind of like very good knockout for Xi Ming. Very good. I don't know how well she'll do in the UFC because she was getting toasted, but here's the thing, there's not a lot of 5'7" women's strawweight fighters now, is there? She looks pretty strong. She's a nice little lady, Xi Ming. She's so adorable. Look at her. I know you can't, actually you probably can see her. It's probably her like smiling with her little gloves up. But look at how adorable she is. Her parents don't even know she fights for a living, dude. They're going to know now. They're definitely going to know now because she's going to have to pay for her medical. But Feng Xiaonan, I feel so bad for her because she was just winning the entire fight, and then she has to go home with a sour taste in her mouth and probably a feeding tube because she got fucked. Dude, I'm telling you, this is one of the more brutal knockouts. It's so bad. Good win for Xi Ming. Glad you're in the UFC, lady. I hope they give Feng Xiaonan a nod to the UFC because I think she can cause a lot of problems. Because her takedown defense looked good. She even reversed positions on bottom when she did get taken down. Dude, Feng Xiaonan can do a lot. It's just she kind of got caught. We move to Nyamdragal Tumendembrel versus Carlos Hernandez. Now this fight, listen, I'm not going to say robbery, all right? Now, I'm a bit biased because I did pick Namjurgal to Mendembrel, and Carlos Hernandez was fighting like a bit of a pussy. But round one, Carlos is trying to take him down the entire time. Namjurgal knocks him down in the final 10 seconds. Big whoop. Gets that round. Round two, Namjurgal literally lands like nothing. Neither does Carlos Hernandez, but he has a lot of control time. That's Carlos Hernandez's round. Namjurgal landed 2 strikes. Round 3, he gets outstruck 21-13, but Namjurgal basically knocks him down again at the end of the round. He basically knocked him down again. He cracked him and then had him with a jab, and then Carlos hit the fucking floor. So I don't know how in a round where nothing really lands from either guy, no real damage is done from Carlos Hernandez, how Namjurgal to Mendembrel doesn't get the third round. When he rocks him, he lands the best punch of the round, clearly rocks him, and sends him to the floor. Am I dumb or something? Do I not understand the scoring criteria? It's damage. He did the most damage in the round. It's not like Carlos got takedowns. He went 0 of 5. Fuck you, Carlos Hernandez. I'm joking. It was a well thought out play. Namjurgal to Mendembrel did need to throw more in the third round, though, to make it a definitive win, because like it is like he got clearly out volumed in the third round because he just wasn't throwing a lot. He can become something. Like Namjurgal has like potential. He has like a lot of physical advantages over people at flyweight. He's like explosive as shit. Hits very hard. He just needs to set up better and actually throw more. So we move to Lone Kavanaugh versus Jose Ochoa. Lone Kavanaugh looked really good. His kicks were fast as fuck. His hands looked pretty good. His head movement was pretty good. At the end of the second round, like the big moment for Jose was he rocked him to the body and then kind of got his back. And Lone Kavanaugh, it looked like he was kind of fading at the end of the second round. And I was like, no way, Lone Kavanaugh loses. Right. Round two, much of the same, just a little lower output from Lone Kavanaugh. But he's landing a lot of leg kicks, landing a lot of body kicks, landing the better shots. Of the two, Jose Ochoa just really didn't land a lot of, like, besides the second round, he didn't land a lot of, like, damaging shots. That was kind of, like, it looked like Lone was landing the better shots because, one, he was quicker, he was faster, and it made a huge, like, his body kicks looked really good. He's very explosive for the weight division. His head movement was super class. Jose Ochoa can become something as well. He looked pretty solid, especially in the second round. He's a very tough dude as well. He got hit with some flush-ass head kicks, and he was still just going forward. Same with Lone Kavanaugh. Like, he's got a chin on him, too, because he did land some, like, decent straight punches, especially against the clinch. Not against the clinch, against the cage, rather, but Lone Kavanaugh just won it. I don't know who they're going to give him, because flyweight is so shallow. They won't give him a ranking guy next. Honestly, you could do him versus Carlos Hernandez. I think that's what they should do. I know I know that's like a quick, they fall on the same card, fucking book them against you. But I think that fight does just make a lot of sense. Because Carlos Hernandez is what, like, was he 3-3 in the UFC now? Something along those lines? You need to do that. We move to Xiaonan versus Quang Li. Quang Li got knocked out bad. He got knocked out pretty bad. Quang Li, his cardio didn't hold up. And I should have expected, I don't know why I picked him. I was like, Chris Gutierrez to Zhao Long. That's like a huge step down. Zhao Long looked good, man. He looked good. For the first half, like the first 3 minutes of the first round, I was like, how did somebody let me get Quang Li at plus money? You know what I mean? Because Zhao Long didn't look good. From then on, Zhao Long looked fucking incredible. He did just look good. He did look great after that. He was pushing the pace the entire time. He was just like kind of melting Quang Li with moments. His boxing started to get better. He started to grow as the fight went on. He just kind of went through Quang Li. And then in the third round, Quang Li, he's kind of getting desperate a little bit. He's shooting lazy takedowns. And then he gets just absolutely clocked with a fucking straight punch and just dies. And then Zhao Long, it's like a late stoppage, and Quang Li gets hit some more. It's bleh. Great win from Zhao Long. Looked very good, especially after round one. Like, even the latter half of round one. Basically, he just landed the better shots than Quang Li from a low. Like, Quang Li was landing heavy shots at the beginning of the first round, and I was like, oh my god, somebody let me get plus money on this fucking guy. And then after that, it was like he just kind of slowed down heavily. So, we move to to the start of the entire card, Maheshate versus Nicholas Mota. This fight reminds me a lot of Azamat Murzakanov versus Dustin Jacoby, in a way. Essentially, Nicholas Mota just knocked him down every round. That's it. He knocked him down every round. Besides that, he was getting kind of outstruck a little bit at moments. For like a large portion of the fight, Maheshate was just outlanding him, but Nicholas Mota would have these moments where he would just blitz and clobber him with a left hook. At the end of the first round, he clobbers him, knocks him down, gets the round. Start of round 2, knocks him down for the rest of the round, kind of coasts. Round 3, knocks him down again at the start of the round, and then clobbers him a little bit, and then rocks him near the end of the fight. It was just a whole lot of Nicholas Mota just landing the harder shots, and Maheshate's chin not really holding up. But holding up enough to where he doesn't, like, get fully, like, knocked out. But, yeah. UFC Macau, honestly better than I expected. I'm honestly not mad that I had to wake up at 1:30 in the morning to watch these fights. Yeah, very fun card. The main event lived up to the hype, as I thought it would. Very entertaining. Xiaonan looked great. A lot of fun KOs, like Muslim Salikov had a crazy KO. Zhang Mingyang had a cool KO. Dong Hun Choi, Shi Ming sent Fang Xiaokan to the hospital. A lot of bust-out performances like Lorne Kavanaugh, like a Zhao Long, who has to make up for the loss on the road to UFC finale. Yeah, just a great card overall. Wang Kong did lose. It's a bummer, but she'll be back, trust. The Joker will be back, and we will be in full support of her because she has so much aura. But, yeah, there is no fights this weekend, so I will try and make some content for you guys. I'll try and come up with some other stuff that I can put out in the meantime. But, yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.